Good morning, everyone. This is part 3 of Tom Brady's coaches and mentors. This video is purely about Bill Belichick. I know there's a lot of emotions amongst fans with regards to Coach Belichick and his treatment of Brady, and I'm no exception to this. I'm going to just stick to the positives and the good things between Brady and Belichick. I talk a fair bit in this video, especially at the end there, where I give my opinion regarding the relationship between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and Bill Belichick's stance with all his players. So if you don't want to hear that, by all means, please skip my commentary. And I do apologize for making you listen to some of the dribble that I have to say.
Mike, what's interesting also is that you were with the Jets during that draft. That was the year 2000 when Tom Brady was drafted. What do you remember in particular about the quarterbacks? Because that's what Ray Ryan was charged with. Find me an under-the-radar later quarterback in this draft.
And really what was remarkable was we took a quarterback in the first round, Chad Pennington, and in the third round, the New York Jet facility at the time was on Hofstra University in Long Island, and the great Bill Walsh drafted their quarterback, Giovanni Carmazzi, in the third round, and we were devastated. We're like, oh my God, we got it wrong. Bill Walsh wanted Carmazzi, we must have it wrong. And then sure enough, in the sixth round, rest is history, Tom Brady is drafted. Now what's really remarkable, maybe the 32 most important passes in the history of our sport were the 32 passes that Tom Brady threw in the 2000 preseason, because Bill Belichick, for all his greatness, realized I need to keep 4 quarterbacks on the active roster, which is extremely unusual. You had Drew Bledsoe, you had Michael Bishop, you had another veteran, John Freese, and oftentimes a 6th-round quarterback who throws 32 passes in a preseason goes to the practice squad. And maybe Tom Brady's claimed by another team and history is different, but to Bill Belichick's credit, one of the great decisions was not only listening to Dick Rabine and drafting Tom Brady, but having the foresight to keep him on the active roster based on 32 throws of the 2000 preseason.
Well, I remember towards the end of training camp, I was covering the Patriots at that time, and the depth chart came out, and out of nowhere, Brady was the second-string quarterback. You talk about, everybody thought headed to the practice squad or whatever, third, and people thought it was a misprint, like it was literally a news flash, and then from there, the rest, as they say, is history. But it worked out pretty well for Tom Brady and Dick Rabine finding him.
And when did you know that he was something a little bit different?
Well, Tom was special his rookie year, even though he didn't play. His leadership with the other rookies in the class, we had a big rookie class. Tom took them every day after practice and would run them up and down the field in their offensive plays, and was clearly a leader on the field. And then, had a very good training camp in 2001. Kind of the crossroads was in the middle of the 2001 season when we played the Rams. That was the week that Drew had come back, and so I split the reps between Tom and Drew that week. And the Rams beat us in that regular season game on Sunday night. And I didn't think that was Tom's best game, but in retrospect, I looked at it and thought that it would be hard for anybody to play well, only getting half the reps. So the following week against New Orleans, I said, we're just going with Tom, and he's going to get all the reps, and he's going to play. That's what Mr. Kraft's paying me to do, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the decisions that I think are the best for the football team. T-E-A-M as in team. You played very well in that game, and I think that's one of the real trademarks of Tom's career is there've been a couple games along the way where it hasn't been his best, but the next game has always come back and been, an outstanding game. So that was a real turning point, I would say, in that season and ultimately in the evolution of Tom's great career.
Well, it worked out because you won 9 in a row. From that point on, that actually was the right button to push right there.
Yeah, that was our last loss that year, was the Rams game, and wasn't very well coached by me, and so I thought we gave ourselves a lot better chance when we played them the second time around. But that was really right in the middle of the season. There we were 5-5, could have gone either way, and Tom really came through for us in a big way, starting with that New Orleans game.
There's always this question: Tom Brady, greatest of all time, but if he didn't have Belichick, he wouldn't have achieved, because Belichick is the brains there. In your legacy, does that go through your head?
I think it's a pretty shitty argument, actually, that people would say that, because, again, I can't do his job and he can't do mine.
Right.
So the fact that you could say, would I be successful without him, the same level of success, I don't believe I would have been.
That is what I was expecting him to say. There's Rex and D. Wood. D. Wood, your thoughts?
I think Tom hit it right on the head. When you talk about the unprecedented success of the Patriots dynasty, they'll be forever linked. And, I know everyone's talked about this season, now that they're apart, who was the one that really should get the kudos for the success, Bill or Tom. You can't separate one without the other. Bill is the ultimate head coach. I played under Bill. He's the greatest head coach in sports history. And Tom, even developed by Bill, but he's the ultimate quarterback, the ultimate competitor. He just found a way to win games in the clutch. So I just can't separate the two when it talks about the Patriots dynasty.
Tom, are you aware that he thought you were special, part of the rookie class at the time? Is that news to you right now, or did you know that?
Yes and no. I mean, I think having him putting me on the field, I knew that he was confident in me. And obviously, over a lot of years of playing for him, I realized that he was always going to play, the person that he thought was best for the team. And he'll tell you all the time, it doesn't matter where you come from. I don't give a where you were drafted, how we got you here. You're here to win. And if you're not the best guy, you're not playing. I think that was a great opportunity for me, who's someone who was, a late round pick, and you think, God, that guy's going to get a lot more chances. And, it wasn't the case. He felt like, if you were on the team, you showed it on the practice field, you delivered when it mattered the most, and, you were going to get another shot to get out there and play.
Look, this was, and it seems crazy, but this was the perfect marriage between a quarterback and a coach. And this doesn't feel like a divorce. It feels like a separation, because at the end of the day, they're coming back together, and Brady will retire a Patriot, and he'll be there with Belichick. So to me, you have 20 years. These two accomplished something no other combination has ever accomplished, and never will, in my opinion. So to me, they're spectacular together. We're going to see how they are apart. I think they're both going to be successful. I think Brady, in my opinion, is going to have more success early. Because I don't think that roster in New England is very good. But Belichick is a great coach. I just think that this year they take a step back. But Brady and Belichick, to me, will always be linked together, regardless of the success that Brady has moving forward or Belichick has moving forward.
When it mattered the most that year was the Super Bowl. And a lot of people at the end of that game, you guys are winning, then the Rams, greatest show on turf, they are ripping in the fourth quarter, right? This thing is out of control. Everybody's thinking, oh, just go take a knee, get this thing to overtime.
And now with no timeouts, I think that the Patriots, with this field position, you have to just run the clock out. You have to play for overtime now.
But you didn't. You put the ball in his hands and came up with the game winner. Did you ever even remotely consider just taking a knee and getting it to overtime?
Well, we started pretty conservatively, and Tom did a good job of managing that game. Got to the J.R. Redmond, he got out of bounds. The big play really was to Troy Brown on under route, and the Rams are in a three-man rush. Tom made a great read, hit Troy. Troy got out of bounds, and then that really gave us a chance to set it up, and Tom handled the last play perfectly with a little return route to Wiggins, put Adam in position. I felt like, at that point, we're sending our best player on the field, Adam Vinatieri, out to kick a game-winning kick.
And Adam Vinatieri will try to win it with a 47-yard field goal attempt. Set to go, snap, ball down, kick up. Kick is on the way, and it is good! It's good! And the Patriots are Super Bowl champions! The Patriots are Super Bowl champions! Oh, baby!
Put us in that moment.
We had, I think it was minute 21, right around there, and no timeouts, but we didn't have to go that far. We had to kick a field goal, and it was indoor, and, Adam was an incredible player. So, for a quarterback, when you're in that situation, it's usually just one big play, that allows you to, one big chunk, and you've got a good chance.
But you're a kid in the Super Bowl, and this is the moment that you've thought about your entire life. Yeah. It was just a game?
Well, I went to Michigan. There was 110,000 people in that stadium.
Damn straight you did.
I know. And you know what? In a weird way, I played in my fourth year in college. We played in the Citrus Bowl. We came back and we threw a touchdown pass to win the game. My fifth year, we played Alabama in the Orange Bowl. And, we won in overtime. So I actually kind of felt like, oh, here's another bowl game, that I get a chance to play in. And, it was just kind of, I'm glad I didn't have the perspective of how hard it was to actually win the Super Bowl. I just thought, well, yeah, I won at Michigan, and then I came and I got a chance to play for the Patriots, and we're winning this year. And it just kind of felt like it was a continuation of a lot of things that I had done, but then it really realized how hard it was in about 2010 and 11 after we hadn't won in a lot of years. And I was like, God, I never realized how hard it is to win the Super Bowl. It's hard to get there, and it's so hard to win it because you're fighting against all the odds. So it was really a magical moment. And I remember seeing Coach the morning after the Super Bowl in New Orleans, and we both got in the limousine. We probably were working off probably not any sleep at all. And he said, Tom, just want to let you know you had a pretty good year. And I said, thanks, Coach. And it's been pretty magical ever since.
Privately, I can promise you, and in front of me and everybody else, I've heard way different things. From Belichick. Like, he knows how good Tom Brady is, all right? And so to me, there's always that. We don't know what he says privately, but rest assured, he knows how good Tom Brady is. But I think it's just his personality. He's had success this certain way, and he's always going to do that. And he always has his entire coaching career. So don't expect him never to change.
Yeah, Damian Woody, I'll give you a final thought on this here. Again, those two guys, they accomplished more together than any two football people ever have before. And here's Brady talking about it, and a little more openly than he generally does. You were there at the beginning. What did you hear there?
Well, listen, I of course he's going to be very complimentary of the guy they went to 9 Super Bowls and won 6. He's going to be that way. But make no mistake about it. You're talking about two alpha males in Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And with all the success that they've had, don't think that in their mind at any point, particularly towards the end of this thing, that they haven't wondered, you know what? I want to see what I can do without this guy, because that's what real competitors do.
Tom and I will always have a great relationship, but it was built on love, admiration, respect, and appreciation. Tom's success as a player and his character as a person are exceptional. Belichick went on to say that Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time.
And this last part of the video is dedicated to the great Bill Belichick. I know a lot of you disagree with me, and I'm about to go on a big rant here. When I said Bill Belichick loves his players and wants the best for them, and that Bill played a big role in helping Brady develop and become the great player that he is, I know there's a lot of people out there that disagree with me about this, but please let me explain my position. When Brady left, or if you want to put it this way, he was kicked out of the Patriots, it doesn't really matter how you want to put it. The fact is, he's gone from the Patriots. I was completely devastated. Maybe I was naive to think there was no way Robert Kraft would ever let Brady go. All those years of service, of sacrifice, of absolute loyalty, and what he's done for the Pats and the New England community. No way Kraft would ever let Brady go. So when it happened, I was in complete disbelief. I remember hearing on the news and thinking, nah, that's fake news. No way. Then when it was true, I became so angry. I'm a very emotional person, but I don't really get angry like that ever, And I know it sounds crazy, but I got more and more bitter every time I thought about football. Normally after work, I'd go home, have dinner, and start to watch and rewatch NFL games and highlights. It was awesome. It was my way of unwinding every night and enjoying football. I watch NFL football more than I watch any other sport. And this is coming from a complete 100% Australian bloke who loves rugby, who loves cricket, who loves everything that's Aussie. And I'm watching NFL nearly every day. But I started really not enjoying it because I took it so personally. I felt jaded. I really don't know how else I can explain how I felt during that whole saga and that whole incident. And honestly, it sounds so weird and almost like a sickness for someone to be taking it this personally. I mean, I've never been to America. I've never been to New England. I've never met Tom Brady. I don't know anything much outside of just being a good fan of Tom Brady, but I did take it personally. And so the only way for me to move forward so that I can appreciate and enjoy football again was just look at the positive side of the whole situation. I have to believe that Bill Belichick did that because he thought it was the best for the Pats, and he did it reluctantly. But it's his job to do what he thinks is best for the team, even though it was obviously the absolute wrong, silliest decision. Brady was still and still is in his prime. I've read so much stuff, both good and bad, about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady's relationship, and I have no doubt there's truth in both sides. Absolutely no doubt. However, I choose to focus on only the good, because when I think about the bad, I become angry, I become hurt, and I get jaded, and I hate that feeling. I mean, there's a ton of stuff talking about how Bill never treated Brady right, and I'm not going to argue that's false. Obviously, there's truth in that. I don't agree with Coach Belichick's people management skills. He is an introvert, and there's no doubt he could have treated Tom and all the other players a lot better. I don't know whether he did that because he thought this is going to get the best out of Tom, or that's just Bill's personality by nature. It's probably a combination of both. But whatever it is, I've got to focus on the good side. So as much as I know most of you will disagree with me on this, I have to believe Belichick wants the best for his players. He wants them to work hard. He wants them to take responsibility, to do their job. And that means turning up to work every day, on time, prepared and ready to go, giving it your all so you can be the best that you can possibly be, because that makes the team better. It makes the team stronger. The team wins if every player is doing their best every day. So you played for the Pats, you're not really going to enjoy the experience, but you learn a lot of skills. And these skills are winning skills and winning habits. It made you better. You were challenged every day and you became better for it. And that's why I believe Coach Belichick loves his players, because he wants the best for them. Yes, he got rid of some of the core players, some of the key loyal vets that were there when he thought they were no longer in their prime, or he wasn't willing to pay them what they're worth. But he did help them develop good life skills. They did become responsible, dependable men. I have to believe that. And all the qualities and traits that I've just mentioned, no one exemplifies those traits more than Tom Brady. No one. Bill pushed Tom harder than any other player. He did it non-stop. He challenged Brady in every way, and Brady became better for it. Brady studied harder. He trained harder. His mental toughness got stronger. He became even more resilient, if that's even possible. I mean, the man is so mentally tough. I'm not saying Brady couldn't have done this without Belichick, because Brady can. He's proven that he can. But the fact is, during that whole time, whilst he was developing, whilst he was such a young man, Belichick was there, and no doubt Belichick helped Brady improve. And that's it for this video. Thank you for listening to me rant, even if you didn't agree with me. As always, I'm truly grateful that you take time to watch these videos and to listen to me and hear what I have to say. And I promise I will always do my best and do the best that I can deliver in quality for you. Please like and subscribe, as it would really help me out. Thank you.